Hello and welcome to this webcast on the new features in the latest version of Labview. Labview accelerates the productivity of engineers and scientists building any measurement and control system. But while it's important to build these systems quickly and to be productive, it's equally important to build it right. Building a system right ensures quality and reliability, minimizes maintenance costs, enables team-based development, and guarantees the accuracy and performance of the system. With this in mind, we're announcing new features and resources in Labview 2012 designed to help you eliminate spaghetti code and build your systems using good architectures and development practices so that you can innovate with confidence and ultimately accelerate the success of your system. When starting Labview 2012 for the first time, experienced users will notice several of the latest improvements right away. In addition to a new Getting Started screen, selecting Create Project presents a user with a list of several templates and sample projects. These new templates and sample projects serve as recommended starting points for a wide variety of Labview applications, ranging from data loggers, multi-process object-oriented architectures, and even embedded control and monitoring systems for the Labview Rio platform. All of these sample projects were painstakingly developed and reviewed to ensure that they serve as examples of excellent Labview code, complete with thorough documentation and information designed to help you customize and modify functionality to meet the needs of systems you're building with Labview. So one of the sample projects that's new in 2012 is for continuous measurement and logging, and this is designed to be used with DACMX on a desktop. So as the name implies, this project is continuously acquiring measurements and simultaneously logging them to disk. So it has multiple parallel processes that are all independent, and this ensures that they can execute asynchronously and that things like the user interface are always responsive to user interaction. So of the various processes in this application, there are a process dedicated to updating the UI and displaying data in the graph to a user. There is, of course, a loop that's constantly capturing user interaction with the front panel and dispatching commands to the appropriate consumer processes. And there is also a loop that's dedicated to constantly streaming this data to disk. So again, as a sample project, this is a ready-to-run application. It works out of the box, but of course it's also completely open source. And what this means is that you can totally customize this code for your specific application. And as you can see here, it's complete with extensive documentation, including inline comments that highlight exactly where and how code should be modified in order to adapt it to the specific needs of your application. As another example, this illustrates the architecture for one of the Labview FPGA control sample projects. Here you can see a lot of different processes residing on different targets for a single system. We have code running on the FPGA that interfaces directly with I/O. The desktop code, of course, is where we would have the user interface. And we have a variety of deterministic operations occurring on the real-time processor as well. Combining these different platforms is common for an embedded system that requires deterministic performance and high reliability. But of course, this would normally require a variety of disparate tools and expertise without Labview. This architecture also represents and includes common components that are important to have in high reliability systems, such as health monitoring and watchdog loops. Now, as a sample project, this is a ready-to-run system that's included in Labview 2012, but it's completely open and can be extended and customized to meet the needs of your specific embedded control system. In addition to the numerous templates and sample projects in Labview 2012, we're also accelerating success of Labview developers by announcing access to self-paced online training with the purchase of Labview 2012 and Developer Suite. This training covers core Labview skills and is available on demand on NI.com for customers with active service contracts. New users can learn the basics of the environment and data flow programming, and of course, experienced users can revisit this material at any time to brush up on core concepts and programming skills. We're also accelerating the success of users by continuing to focus on providing a stable and highly reliable development environment. Error reporting was first introduced in Labview 2011 in order to better understand and isolate the cause of crashes in the development environment. This graph shows the top 20 crashes that were received from those of you who submitted reports, and this represents roughly 30% of all the submitted crashes. So as you can see from the green bars, we were able to resolve over half of these issues completely and partially address the remaining 7 issues. With improvements to the error reporting in 2012, we will continue to improve the stability in order to ensure that you have the confidence to innovate with a highly productive environment. Labview 2012 also includes the ability to display or control your applications from a thin client interface running on an Apple iPad. the latest version of the data dashboard, version 2.0, adds the ability to develop a completely custom UI that can connect via web services or network published shared variables running on either a Labview embedded or Labview desktop target. Data Dashboard is currently available for download from the App Store. Labview 2012 features new productivity and optimization improvements for FPGA developers. These enhancements are designed to simplify the task of translating algorithms and Labview code that has been developed on a desktop or real-time target in order to run them on an FPGA. So as an example, previous versions of Labview FPGA required developers to use the fixed point data type when fractional data was needed. So while the fixed point data type is very efficient for hardware-based designs, especially when it comes to speed and resource utilization, it doesn't provide the flexibility that the floating point data type offers. In Labview FPGA 2012, the single precision floating point data type is natively supported. So this will eliminate the need to convert algorithms to the fixed point data type for certain use cases and enable DSP designers to solve linear algebra problems in Labview FPGA that require a wider dynamic range than what fixed point or integer data type would have otherwise provided. So what you're seeing here on the slide is an illustration of the implementation of the Monte Carlo algorithm, and on the top you're seeing what would have been required to manually convert the data types using fixed point math, and on the bottom you're seeing how it's become much simpler thanks to the fact that the mathematical palette now supports floating point numbers in Labview FPGA 2012. Another highlight in Labview 2012 is the 3D stereo vision features and analysis capabilities. These make it possible to calculate depth information by combining multiple images, which is especially useful in applications that are performing vision inspection to find any abnormalities in the surface of a three-dimensional object. The example on this slide illustrates how two images can be combined to detect a defect that exceeds specifications, which, in this case, ensures that you aren't shipping any chocolates that have been deformed. For the last several years, we've used the Idea Exchange as a forum to hear what you want to see in the product and how we can improve your productivity, even if it just means saving a click or two for common and highly repetitive operations. Labview 2012 features these 12 new Idea Exchange features. Let's take a quick look at some examples. The first example I'd like to show you is the integrated subdiagram label. Shown here on while loops and a case structure, these are now available for any structure on the block diagram, making it easier to create well-organized and well-documented Labview code. As another example, you can now right-click when selecting multiple items in the block diagram and perform common operations. So if you've ever spent time changing multiple icons to terminals on the block diagram, this is just one of several examples of operations that can now be performed with a single click. Many Labview applications require some iterative process to determine at runtime whether or not to add a new element to an array. So previously this would have eliminated the ability to use the build array tunnel because you don't want every single element. You want to conditionally append or add a new element. So here we're seeing an example of how you would have built this code into your loop. In the top it's exemplifying how you would have created and found all of the odd numbers in a finite data set, and on the bottom it's doing something similar for prime numbers in that same data set. Anyway, the point is this is an example of a highly repetitive task that a lot of people are building into their applications. So the goal of this new Idea Exchange feature is to eliminate the need to develop this code every time you want to conditionally append elements to an array. And the way we've addressed that is by introducing a new conditional terminal to the build array tunnel. And so what we're looking at now is actually equivalent in every which way to the block diagram that we just showed. So we'll get the same two arrays of odd numbers and prime numbers. But we don't have to build in that case structure. We're just using that Boolean value to tell the build array tunnel whether or not to append that new data value. And so obviously this is going to save us a fair amount of time and effort as we can leverage this for every loop where we want to conditionally add new elements. So in today's brief webcast, we were only able to go over a small number of the many new features that are available in Labview 2012 to accelerate your success. As you can see from this list, there are numerous other new features and technologies that will ultimately make you more productive and ensure you can innovate with confidence. So for more information on these, please visit /Labview/what's new, or go ahead and download or upgrade to the latest version of Labview today to get started with these and other new features in Labview.